this is another hundreds chart activity, and you can even call it a game because you're going to be using dice, and calling it a game makes it seem more fun even though it's not really a game. So for this you're going to need a hundreds chart, and I have a video of how to make one of these if you don't have a printer, you don't know how to make one. You're going to also want to make tens and ones pieces, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a second. And you also want a chart with number, hundreds, tens, and ones. Other materials you'll need are a die and pencil, and maybe another one if you want your child to be adding the numbers together before they use the chart. I'm making these pieces the same way that I made the hundreds chart, I just don't draw the lines across the tens. And now that I have this done and an extra row of ones, I'm going to pick two colors and just color all the tens one color and all the ones a different color. It doesn't matter what colors you pick. I just think it's easier to color it before you cut it out. And you could even have your kids do this part. And then you cut it out. The last thing I'm going to make is a chart to keep track of the place value, and that's for the kids to know how many tens, ones, and hundreds there are. So for this, I'm going to split it into 4, not because I'm going all the way into thousands, but because I want an extra column to keep track of the number itself. Over here I have the number, then this is just a dividing column. Hundreds, tens, and ones. And now you have everything you will need for this activity. Before you start the actual activity, it might be a good idea to make sure your child knows how to fill in the chart using these pieces. So just have them fill in the tens row all the way with all the little green pieces or whatever color you use. And have them count out loud as they do it. 7, 8, 9, 10. And then point out to them that the orange piece, or whatever color you made it, is just as long. It's the exact same length as all 10 of those put together. So if you have 10 green pieces, which you'll call 1, so if you have 10 ones, that's the same as a whole 10 piece. 10 ones, 1 10. So you can have them replace this. They don't need those ones anymore because it's already full. So they can take them off and just put a 10 there instead. And then have them fill it the rest of the way, counting by 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and point out that the number is right there at the end of the row. 70, 80, 90, 100. And if you even want to do some extra, you can make a third hundred. So you have the first one with the numbers, the second one that you cut out the tens and one pieces. You can make a third one that's just one big square to show them that once you fill that whole thing up, you can put your 100 square on and it's full all the way to 100. Showing them that 10 tens, because you have 10 of them, equals 100. The actual activity involves rolling a die and then putting it onto the hundreds chart. So I rolled a 6, I would take 6 of my ones and put them on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I roll again. 2. 1, 2, roll again. 3, yay. 1, 2, oops. And then 1, 2, I need one more. But I don't have any more ones. So I'm going to have to do something about that. I'm going to have to use that trick that I just learned. I know that 10 tens, or 10 ones is the same as a single 10. So I can replace these with a 10 and then take that one more. And you just keep going with this. Got a 1. Got a 1. Oh gosh. And hopefully they don't roll a bunch of ones over and over again. And then I would add 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Roll again. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And each time you transition from ones to tens, you might have to prompt your child to do the switch, or they might need some guidance with it. But just make sure you always replace it with a 10, because otherwise you won't be able to do it. That's why we purposely only made 10 ones pieces. You're going to keep doing that until it gets all filled up to 100, and you could have, to make it more fun, you might want to set a timer. You could say, let's see how fast you can do it, and then see if you can do it faster the next time. And they might complain, oh, that took too long, and you'd say, you know what, it did take a long time. What would make it faster? And they can think some, tell them we could use 2 dice and then add them together, and that would make it go faster. The chart is just adding an extra layer onto this activity, and you can start it from the beginning, or you could wait a couple rounds, or even start it in the middle of a round. So I'm starting in the middle of a round. I already have 22. So I would write that number right here, and then, or your child would write the number, and then you'd ask them, how many hundreds do you have? And they might be confused. They might say 1, but you can remind them, oh, but it's not filled in all the way to 100, so do we have any hundreds? And you'd say, and they'd say no. So you have a 0. You don't even have to write that 0, you can just leave it blank. And then you'd ask them, how many tens do you have? And they'd say 2. And then you ask, how many ones do you have? And they'd say 2. And then you'd point out how if you take the tens and the ones and squish them together, you'd end up with the number 22. And you can do that from the beginning. Like if you only have 8 here, then it would be 0, 0, 8. And you can do it all the way down to the end until you get 1, 0, and 0 for 100.